There once lived a young woman named Amara, the only daughter of poor farmers in a small village called Umoma. Her parents struggled to feed the family, and Amara grew up wearing old clothes and going to school barefoot. Many times, she cried because her classmates mocked her for being poor. But her mother would always tell her, "My daughter, never look down on anyone. Life turns like a wheel. Today you are down, tomorrow you can be up." Those words stayed with her, or so everyone thought. When Amara finished secondary school, she traveled to the city to look for work. Life was hard at first. She lived in a small room with 3 other girls, doing menial jobs just to survive. Then one day, luck smiled on her. She met a kind woman who introduced her to a business in fashion and fabric trading. Amara worked hard, and by God's grace, the business grew. Within a few years, she opened her own boutique, began importing goods, and money started flowing like water. She built a big house in the city and sent money home to her parents. Everyone in Umoma began to speak her name with pride. Amara has made it. God has blessed her. But as wealth grew, humility began to shrink. Amara started to see herself as better than everyone else. She no longer spoke to her old friends. When she visited the village, she came in a flashy car, wearing expensive gold and designer clothes. Children would run after her car shouting her name, but she would roll up the windows and pretend not to hear. One year, Amara met Chai, a humble and hardworking man. He was a teacher, gentle, respectful, and patient. Everyone said he was good for her, but Amara only saw him as someone below her class. Still, because Chaik loved her sincerely and treated her kindly, she agreed to marry him after much persuasion. At first, their marriage seemed peaceful, but soon Amara's true character began to show. She started maltreating her husband, shouting at him, insulting him in front of their housemaid, and reminding him constantly that she was the one feeding the home. "If not for me, you would still be living in that small apartment of yours," she would say. "Don't forget you married me, not the other way around." Whenever Chai tried to talk to her calmly, she would wave her hand dismissively. She refused to cook, refused to respect him, and often told her friends, "Men are useless if they don't have money. I can do without him." Chaik's heart was heavy, but he endured quietly, hoping she would change. The people in their neighborhood began to whisper about how she disrespected her husband. Even her own parents heard and begged her to change, but she told them, "You people are just jealous. You never had what I have now." Then came a turning point. One of her business partners, the same man she trusted with her investments, ran away with most of her money. She tried to recover it, but the company he registered was fake. Within months, she lost almost everything. As if that was not enough, her boutique caught fire one night due to an electrical fault. She lost goods worth millions. Amara was devastated. The same friends who used to laugh and eat with her stopped picking her calls. She tried to sell her cars to recover, but debts piled up faster than she could pay. Chait, the husband she had insulted and ignored, was the only one who stood by her. He used his small teacher's salary to buy food for them and comforted her when she cried. But pride is a heavy burden to drop. Even when she was broke, Amara still struggled to say thank you. She thought it was temporary until the bank came and repossessed her house. They had to move to a small apartment near the school where Chaik worked. It was there, in that small room with leaking roofs and no air conditioner, that Amara finally broke down. One evening, she sat on the floor and cried. She remembered all the people she had insulted: her husband, her neighbors, her relatives, even the poor people she once mocked. She turned to Chaik with tears in her eyes and said, "I am sorry. I thought money was everything. I forgot who I was." Chaik forgave her, though the wound in his heart took time to heal. Slowly, Amara began to rebuild her life, but this time with humility. She started selling small goods in the market and learned to greet everyone with respect. The story of Amara spread throughout the town. People who once envied her now shook their heads in pity. Some said she forgot that pride goes before a fall. Others said God wanted to teach her a lesson: money is not everything. But there were also those who saw her change and said, "At least she learned. She is humble now. God may still lift her again." And indeed, in time, her small business began to grow again. But Amara was no longer the same woman. She greeted everyone, helped those in need, and treated her husband with love and respect. Whenever she saw a poor person, she would say softly, "Never despise the days of small beginnings. I once had everything and lost it, not because of lack of money, but because of lack of humility." No matter how rich you become, never forget where you came from. Money can build a house, but cannot build character. When pride enters the heart, blessings begin to leave. Humility keeps you where grace placed you.